What's going on, Jeromes? So, Sunday night, the Minnesota Vikings have a chance to move to 7-4 on the season when 6 straight games in a row, 7 out of the last 8, and really cement themselves on the national stage. NBC Sunday Night Football, that they are legit, they are for real, and injuries don't matter. Issues and turnovers in the beginning of the season gets a tough schedule, it doesn't matter. But the Vikings, roaring, revved up, ready to go, taking on a stupid-ass Denver Broncos team that is actually a lot better than you may think. So the Vikings should not take them lightly, even though their head coach is stupid-ass Sean Payton. And again, any opportunity to play this clip, so beautiful. Douche. 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 Forever and always. Like, we wouldn't even call him by name anymore. I know that we just did like 2 seconds ago, but he's Voldemort. Oh, not supposed to say that. Macbeth. Anyways, the Vikings looking to get things done on Sunday night. Here are 10 keys for the Vikings to do so. Number 1, move the ball on the ground. Now, this goes beyond just Madison probably going to be missing with a concussion. Ty Chandler looks to... Now, this goes beyond getting it done with running backs, even though Madison probably going to miss with concussion. By the time you watch this, he may have been ruled out officially on Friday. But also, it's a great opportunity for Ty Chandler, King Kene to really step up. But also Josh Dobbs, who is one of the best running quarterbacks in the National Football League. Us Vikings fans have been waiting for a mobile quarterback for a long time. And Josh Dobbs is super dangerous. But the thing is, like, he's not a running quarterback. He's a quarterback who can run. And when he moves in the pocket, he's looking to find a play downfield. The Vikings offensive line will be revved up, ready to go yet again against a pretty solid Broncos pass rush with Baron Browning getting back into the mix as well. But the Vikings moving the ball on the ground, especially since it's going to be forecast rainy and in the mid-40s around kickoff, that maintaining possession, maintaining time of possession, and really grinding it out and keeping that defense fresh while wearing down theirs is going to be paramount on Sunday night. Next up, key number 2. Denver's defense is not terrible. And the whole thing is, like, if you look at any metrics, like points allowed, yards, DVOA, PFF grades, like, they're 32nd or they're near the bottom. But that is greatly warped by the 726 yards and 70 points allowed to the Dolphins back in the day. But they beat Mahomes and they beat Josh Allen. Well, Josh Allen beat himself. Over the last 2 weeks. And yes, Mahomes did have the flu, but you can't really take anything away from them. And they're pretty damn studly on defense, man. Patrick Surtain II, who the Vikings should have traded for, is one of the best young corners in the league. Plus, he's a true traveling press man corner. The work that he did against Diggs when he drew 14 in coverage on Monday night was fantastic. Justin Simmons is one of the best safeties in the league. Dirty Kareem Jackson is back. He's Sean... I almost said it. He's Macbeth's type of player. Also, Baron Browning, underrated edge rusher. Nick Bonito, I loved coming out of Oklahoma. Josie Jewell, Singleton, get it done in the middle. Zach Allen is really underrated as well. So, I mean, this is a good defense. Especially in that secondary. So it's not going to be a gimme out there in Mile High. Next up, key number 3. Wide receiver 2 shining moment. So like we said, Patrick Surtain II is probably going to be traveling with wide receiver 1. Now, if that's Justin Jefferson, would love to see it. But also, I understand, like, if you're bringing a guy back from a hamstring injury, a cold and rainy night in Denver probably isn't the best spot. You could wait for Monday night indoors against the Bears. I'd love to see it. But either way, whether it's JJ, wide receiver 1, whether it's Addison, whoever, wide receiver 2 is going to have to step up because PS2 is going to give the business to wide receiver 1, even though I think that JJ and Addison obviously can rise above. But it's a great spot. KJ Osborne practiced in full on Wednesday and Thursday. He's going to be back. Brandon Powell has really stepped up. Jalen Speedy Naylor played 67 snaps against the Saints, and he could have himself a little bit of a breakout game. But someone needs to alleviate the pressure opposite Patrick Surtain II. Next up, key number 4 for the Vikings, Hockenson. Freaking Hockenson, man. Like, I'm still in awe of how he played against the Saints. Well, in the first half. Well, the entire offense in the damn first half, man. You may as well just burn the second half tape because they didn't do anything. They just knelt on the ball. But basically, Hawkinson's been dealing with the ribs, and he's had some major games. And after a slow start to the season where he was dropping bowls, still leads the league in drops with 6, and also having fumbles, like he's really solidified himself and proven he's not only is he one of the best, if not the best tight ends in the game, he's one of the best overall pass catchers. And the Broncos defense, as good as they are, for whatever reason, they struggle covering the tight end. They're 31st in the league in terms of fantasy points allowed to tight ends. And I also look back at what Dalton Kincaid did to them on Monday Night Football, and I think it could be yum time for TJ Hawkinson, because if you get, say JJ doesn't play, again, I hope he plays if he's 100%, but if not, fully understand it. But if Addison is wide receiver 1 and he's being covered by PS2, and maybe some of the other guys don't get it going, Hawkinson down the middle, Hawkinson on crossers, Dobbs and Hawkinson working out in the offseason all these past couple of years is certainly panning out. That chemistry could lead the Vikings to extend drives as well as put some points up on the board on Sunday night. Next up, key number 5. Don't let Russ cook. So now I understand, like, Russ has been a national punchline for a while. Like he's corny. He's very much PR manufactured, right? He's very aware of where the cameras are, right? But Russ, for as bad as Russ was last year, he quietly has been really good this season. 104 quarterback rating, 18 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, also 213 yards on the ground and 21 first downs using his legs. So Russ is back to being like prime Seattle Russ, but I mean, he's sort of done it in obscurity. I mean, we saw a little bit of it on Monday Night Football, but overall, like, normally I would say, hey, we after that ass, Russ, with Daniil and DJ and company, but this is going to have to be a spot, similar to the Vikings playing Justin Fields or any other mobile quarterback. It's going to have to be a mush rush. You're going to have lane discipline and integrity. I'm probably going to have Ivan Pace Jr. or maybe even Anthony Barr as a spy, maybe Metellus. I mean, I do think that the loss of Jordan Hicks in this game is really huge, but I mean, Russ, I mean, he's one of the few quarterbacks where his quarterback rating goes up when he's pressured. His quarterback rating this season is 104. Under pressure, it's 105. So Russ can take the heat, and I think this could be one of the games where Flores sits back in coverage and tries to get Russ to make a mistake, which, getting pressure with 3, maintaining lane discipline, making sure that you can't escape. I mean, that's a tall order. And the Broncos offense is actually not terrible at this moment in time. Next up, key number 6. Big night for the corners. So on the outside, you do have Cortland Sutton at 6'4", 216. Now, maybe he's not panning out on that potential that made him a second-round pick out of SMU back in the day, but he's quietly playing some good ball. He had tied his season high with catches versus the Bills with 8. Also, he caught a touchdown in 6 of his last 7 games. And Russ is really good at effort. 14's down there somewhere, ball. I mean, you saw it back with the Seahawks with DK. And I actually do think that losing Caleb Evans, who probably is going to be out with that calf injury, it really sucks because matching length on the outside, he would have been great in terms of a one-on-one matchup with Sutton. But Mekhi Blackmon has done great when asked to play some press man, as well as Andrew Booth Jr. has looked good in spots. You're probably going to have Murph, Traylon, Judy in the slot all over the place, but overall it is going to be a really big night for the Vikings cornerbacks and secondary writ large. Next up, key number 7, Vikemodium AD, stop the runs. So again, with the Vikings defense, stuffing the run hasn't really been their strong suit, even though Harrison Phillips is playing his ass off. Same thing with Jonathan Bullard. But especially without Jordan Hicks, I mean, that is a big-time loss in the running game. So, guys like Pace Jr., guys like Troy Dye, guys like maybe Nick Candlelight Vigil or Anthony Barr even gets on the field a little bit on Sunday. They're going to have to fill their gaps because Denver wants to run. Like, as good as Russ has been, like, they want to run the ball. They want to control the clock. They want to keep Josh Dobbs and company off the field. And with Javonte Williams, who's fully healthy off his ACL, P. Ryan, as well as Jaleel McLaughlin, like, they're pretty damn good on the ground. They're 12th in the league in rushing, which is impressive since they already had their bye, as well as they're 6th in yards per carry at 4.6 yards per tote. So they can certainly get it done on the ground. Now, important note, so Ben Powers, who incidentally was Dalton Reiser's replacement at left guard, big-time free agent coming over from the Ravens. He's dinged up. He may miss on Sunday night, and that could be a big loss for their interior offensive line. But, I mean, overall, Garrett Bowles is solid at left tackle. Cushenberry's underrated at center. Quinn Mainers is a guy that I love a lot. McGlinchey got paid, man, but he's a penalty machine, but he can still run block. So, I mean, overall, the Broncos' offensive line ain't terrible, but also losing Powers could be a big-time deal. Also, Dalton Risner revenge game. Baby. Love it, man. Absolutely love it. Next up, key number 8 for the Vikings. One big turnover on defense. So, even though Russ has taken care of the football this year, only 4 picks, I feel like there's 1 or 2 balls every single game that he sails. I don't know what it is. I can't explain it, but it's usually over the middle, and I just feel like this is going to be a Cameron Bynum, Cam Beasley national television interception, maybe even a pick 6 type game. I just feel it. And the Vikings defense, like they're not the shutdown defense. They're not a top 5 defense right now, but they're certainly ascending. They're playing some damn good football, and one of the best things about them is that they will force a turnover. Like they will get you to cough it up. They will swarm around the ball. They will rally. They will tackle, as well as if you throw an interceptable pass, like they will get their mitts on it and go from there, man. Next up, key number 9. The Pastronaut launches in prime time. That's right. So, yes, all the narratives are going to be about Josh Dobbs versus Russell Wilson. But I do think that Josh Dobbs has an opportunity to cook in this spot. Now, like we said, Vance Joseph, Vance Refrigeration, and that Broncos defense, it ain't terrible. Why do I have this graphic up? The Broncos defense ain't terrible. So it's going to have to be a spot where the Vikings stay on the field on 3rd down. Once again, the red zone, they got to close. And I do think that Dobbs, I mean, he's got some magic to him. And even though, the Broncos are finally going to have some Vikings, Josh Dobbs, legit game plan tape from last week's game against the Saints, I don't think it will matter. I do think that Josh Dobbs, his magic carpet ride will continue in the house that Tebow built. I mean, the Pastronaut Josh Dobbs mania right now is akin to Tebow mania. It is akin to Linsanity. It is akin to what do we call it? Do we just call it Keenum time? I don't know, man. But I actually do think that Dobbs has himself another game under the bright lights on national TV, just making plays with his feet, keeping plays alive, and just dropping piss missiles. I love it, man. It's going to be great. Lastly, key number 10. Again, this will be key number 10 until forever. One big special teams play. So, A, Greg Joseph doesn't suck. B, Ryan Wright doesn't suck. C, let's steal possession. How about that? Like one forced muff punt. Like Najee Thompson, NFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Ooh, love to see it. Or one big-time return by Brandon Powell on punts. Or King Kene returning kicks. Love to see it either way. Final score prediction. So, like I said, do not take the Broncos lightly, and don't let those early season games skew you. They're sort of like the Vikings, where the Vikings starting out 0-3 and 1-4. Obviously, the Vikings were much better than that, and the Broncos hilariously getting 70 put on them by the Dolphins early in the year. I mean, they're better than that, and even though stupid ass Sean Payton is stupid ass Sean Payton, like this Broncos team is not one to be trifled with. It's not one to be taken lightly. That defense is greatly improved. Russ is quasi cooking again. We got to shut down the kitchen and go from there. But I think the Vikings do win. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be a lot about ball control. I think it's going to be a lot about Josh Dobbs using his feet and keeping drives alive. But I think the Vikings do get a win here on the road on national television. Vikings 22, Broncos 9. And then moving to 7-4. Wanting some more. The best 7-4 team in NFL history. But that's it. That's it. Vikings-Broncos preview 10. Keys to a Vikes victory. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Don't support the work. Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.